Alrighty, we are up and running and live for day one of three of the Mindful Miles Masterclass. So I am so excited to share all of this information with you guys. Give me some time to figure out this screen. I swear every time I go live on Facebook, there's a new screen. So if you guys have questions throughout this, I would love for you to write them in the comments. I did get some ahead of time, so we'll be going through those as well. But let's start with an introduction as to what today is going to look like, who I am, and we can go from there. So hello everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Sarah. I am the founder and head coach of Mindful Miles Running. What Mindful Miles is it's a holistic approach to running, to wellness, to nutrition, to you name it. At Mindful Miles, we have tons of races and tons of goals we're shooting for, but the main goal is just to be healthy and to train for life. So I tell all of my athletes, if you want to run a marathon, a 5K, a half marathon, if you want to lose weight, whatever that is, great. But more than anything, I want you to get to 60, 70, 80 plus years old and feel good and know if running is your thing, you can run. If biking's your thing, lifting's your thing, whatever it is, you can do it. So that's kind of the focus as to like what we're doing here at Mindful Miles. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about running injuries, where they come from, how we can prevent them, and all of those good things. So if you guys are joining me, please put in the comments, hello, I'm here. If you're here live, please comment hashtag team live so that I can see you. One, to make sure that you guys can hear me okay, you can see me okay. I'd hate to get started and no one, we have audio issues. So please put in the comments, team live if you're here, a hello, whatever that looks like. And we can kind of kick it off from there. I'm not seeing any comments come through. I know we've got quite a bit of people in here though. Okay, Kim, there we go. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. All right, we're here. We're rocking and rolling. Brenda's here. Lauren's here. Here we all are. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here today. Okay, so to get started and to set the stage, as many of you know, I'm going to be doing a giveaway over these next couple of days. So the more you engage, the more points you'll get to put you towards the giveaway. But the main reason why I do this is, one, who doesn't love free stuff? But more than anything, this is a community. So I want you to connect with me. I want you to get the most out of this as possible. I want to answer any questions you have so that you feel empowered and ready to go run your best miles. But I also want you to connect with other people in this group too, because you're so not alone. It doesn't matter where you're tuning in from. You can meet other people that may or may not be in the same boat as you that can also use encouragement just like you and I can every single day. So please stay engaged, chat with each other, chat with me, and we'll get going. But to set the stage, I kind of want to know where everyone's joining from. So I'm going to give you one of four numbers. Please put in the chat which one of these are for you. So if you are multiple, that's fine. Just put each one that applies to you so that I could get a better understanding as to who's in the room. So if you are new or newly returning to running, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. So team number 1. If you are running for weight loss, put a 2 in the chat. If you are running for fun, if you're running for mental health, if you're running for something new, for a new challenge, whatever that looks like, give me a 3 in the chat. And if you're running for performance-related goals, so whether that's to get faster, to go further, to hit a certain distance, to prove to yourself that you can do something, give me a 4. And if you're all of the above, give me a 5. Let's see some of these come in. Yes, hi Harley, good to see you. Hey Lori. All right, a 1 and a 3, good stuff. Mental health for movement, I love it. A 4, 3, okay. All right, we're all over the place and this is great. So let's talk a little bit. As you guys join, if you are joining live, please put team live in the comments. If you're joining later, please put team replay in the comments. But let's get into it. Let's talk about injury prevention and what happens, why we're getting injured. The 3 biggest things that I see time and time again, as someone who has been a lifelong runner, as someone who has been a run coach for a while, is you're doing 3 things wrong. One, you're doing too much too soon. Two, you're neglecting proper recovery and fuel. And three, you're not in the right shoes. So let's start with the first one. You're doing too much too soon. Regardless of if you are an athletic person that's transitioning to running, so maybe that's cross training, lifting, whatever that looks like, or if you're new to running as a whole, it is your first venture into health and wellness, you're probably pretty excited to get going. You're not just kind of doing it, with one foot in, one foot out the door. You're like, I'm ready to go. I want to get into it. Let's start. And maybe you don't know where to start, or maybe if you've ran before, you are like, okay, I'll just pick up where I left off or similar to where I left off. If any of that resonates with you, please let me know. So what happens is you're like, all right, I want to get started. This is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. Take that plan and bring yourself back a couple of steps. So whether it's, say maybe your plan is to walk, run 3 days a week, for the first week you should just walk. Reintroduce your body to movement. Reintroduce your body into what that looks and feels like. It's going to be hard because when you start a fitness journey, you're very excited to get going. That's why boot camps are so successful. That's why diet culture and pills and get skinny quick and get fast quick, all of this is so successful, is because you want to start and you have such high hopes and excitement for what, this new life is going to look like, that you go way too hard, way too quickly. It's a total shock to your body and you don't know what's going on and you get injured. And what happens is, so think of it as jumping into the freezing cold ocean right now. Okay, if you were to jump in, it would be really cold. But if you were to go in slowly, it's not comfortable. You're dipping a toe in. You're like, I don't like this, but I'm getting used to it. By the time you're up to your neck, maybe you're cold for a couple of minutes, but your body's not begging you to jump out of the water. That's the same thing that's happening with your body right now, is it wants to go, but you have to be smarter than, the Couch to 5K app or whatever it is. And know that I have to ease myself in. And that itself is the hardest part of training, is easing yourself in and saying, okay, I feel good. I want to run for an extra 5 minutes or maybe an extra day or whatever that looks like. I'm not going to, because this is me practicing my willpower and knowing I'm not running for the next month. I want to run for the rest of my life. And so maybe I have to start slower to get myself into that. Does that make sense for you guys? Let me know. Let me know if that's helpful at all. So one thing that I would say is, you're like, okay, fine, I'll start running, I'll go slower, whatever that looks like. How do I know if I'm going too slow? Because a lot of people will say, okay, well, Sarah, I started running and I already feel pretty slow. And so I'm going slow, I'm feeling like crap. I don't really know, how could I possibly go any slower? And I get it. I'm in the same boat. And what you want to do is, a couple of quick tricks that I can give you guys is, one, when you get started, no matter what, if you're dreading the run, if you're excited for the run, you're going to go out way too fast. And so what I always say is, give yourself like 30 seconds or so. So if you're running in a neighborhood, a couple of streets, a couple of houses, whatever that looks like, and when you get to that point, when you've been running for 15 to 30 seconds, actively stop, and not like physically stop and slow yourself down. And so, okay, I feel good, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to bring it back. And sometimes you literally need to physically feel like you are pulling yourself back. And that in itself might be not physically painful, but like mentally painful, because you're like, I'm already going so slow. How could I possibly go any slower? I promise your body will adjust. And by the end of the run, you're going to feel significantly better, but you have to slow yourself down. So that's the first thing. And so you're like, all right, I feel like I'm going slow. Kelly says I'm definitely guilty of pushing myself too hard. You're not alone, Kelly. How do we know if we're going slow enough? My top 2 tips, and these are torture. It doesn't matter how in shape you think you are or aren't, it's torture. One, the easier of the two is the conversation trick. Can you, if you're not with someone, can you talk out loud easily? Can you, whatever that preset sentence is, I like to use a mantra. I am incredibly strong. I am incredibly powerful. I've got this. I can do this. Can you say it out loud? And does it come easily, or is your breathing labored? The next thing, and this is the one that's really tough, is I want you to close your mouth, because all of us breathe with our mouths when we're running, and only breathe through your nose. So try it with me right now. It's really hard. One more breath. So imagine doing that while you're running. There's no way you can run too fast if you're breathing in and out through your nose. It's going to force you to slow down, and it's going to be exhausting at first. And so you don't have to, please don't do it the entirety of the run, but if you're ever at a point where you're like, do I need to slow down? Try that for 3 to 4 breaths, then see what your pace is or how you're feeling after that, and try to maintain that. That is something that I swear by all the time. All of the athletes that I work with, when I make them do that, they hate me for it because it's not comfortable, but I promise it's going to develop those legs, it's going to develop those lungs, it's going to help you a lot in the long run. And then the next thing, and I'll touch on this a little bit more in day 3, I am really going to suggest that you don't listen to music. I know a ton of you, most of you are like, I'm team music. And if you are team music, let me know, because I'm always curious to see in the group who is for it and who's against it. So if you're team music, let me know. If you're team no music, let me know. But I'm going to suggest that you not do that, because when you're getting started as a new runner or someone who's finding their new pace, music is often very distracting. It's great for races, it's great for speed workouts because it gets your heart rate up, it gets you moving, it gets you going. But that's not necessarily something we want if you're trying to actively slow down and calm down your system. It's also, running without music is helpful because it gives you a better sense as to what's going on inside your body. It's incredibly boring for some people, and I'll touch on this more in day 3, and I've got tons of tricks to help you get over that. But using music just every once in a while is incredibly powerful and will be more helpful than doing it every single day. Okay, so that's number 1. You're doing too much too soon. If you guys have any questions, feel free to continue to drop them in the comments. We're moving on to the second point of the day, which is neglecting proper recovery and fuel. So when you think about starting, and I hear this all the time as a running coach, is I just started, but I'm not really going, I'm not going too far or too fast. So I'm also doing strength workouts. I'm also on a diet. I'm also this, I'm also that. Although you may not feel like you're doing a ton, you're doing a lot. You're on your feet more, you are more active, you need to take care of your body, because an active body needs more rest and more food in order to fuel your performance and recovery. If you're not eating enough, if you are not recovering, if you're not taking care of your body, your performance is going to plummet. So you're not only going to get slower and not be able to hit those milestones you want to, you're going to feel like crap day in and day out. And this is what I hear from a lot of people, where they're like, my body is just wasn't made for running, or I'm not mentally strong enough, or running is too boring, or whatever that is. That's not the case. You're just not setting yourself up for success. I've got a lot to say on fuel, and we'll talk about it in day 2, and really what you should be doing, specifically what you should be eating as a runner in order to fuel yourself. But I've only got you guys for, another 15-20 minutes, so I will move on from that, but just make sure rest, recovery, all of that goes into your performance. And so you guys need to think of yourselves and know truly that you are athletes. I get a lot of eye rolls when they're like, yeah, I'm not an athlete, or no, I'm not a runner. You are. If you're moving your body, you're an athlete. Kelly, yes, your body was made for running. Everybody was made for running. Thank you for saying this. Because a lot of people feel that way, but it's not the case. You have to learn how to set yourself up for success. So it's starting slower, getting the rest you need, getting the fuel you need. And third is making sure that you're in proper shoes. So I will go through this, and then after that, I'm going to talk about some of the common running injuries that we've seen. If you guys are dealing with any nagging injuries, or you have in the past, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will check it out as we go. But the last thing that I want to talk about, which is I don't want to say the most important, because I feel like I'm going to say that every 30 seconds, but it is very important, is running in proper running shoes. So the amount of props that I have for you guys today is insane, but let's get started, because visuals are always easier. So a lot of times when people start running, or even working out, they run in athletic shoes. And so I should have taped the brands, but whatever. You run in athletic shoes. And so I got to make sure I'm in the screen. Athletic shoes are great for walking around in. They're super comfy. They are not supportive to run in. And so I'm going to kind of walk you through the running shoe versus the athletic shoe and what to look for in each. Let me preface this by saying, if you have a running shoe store near you and you are comfortable going into it, please do that. I am not a professional when it comes to the specifications of each person's foot. You want to go to someone who is going to analyze your stride, who's going to look at your gait, who's going to talk to you about running shoes. There's 3 different types of running shoes. So there's motion control shoes, there are stability shoes, and there are neutral shoes. I could talk to you a little bit about each of them. If you guys have specific questions, you can message me offline. But really the best thing that you could do is go to a running store. That's going to look like a Jackrabbit, a Fleet Feet, an Athlete's Edge. I think those are the 3 most popular. Please don't go to a Dick's Sporting Goods. Don't go to like a Big Five or anything like that. Like, you specifically want to Google running specialty store. Again, if you guys have questions, message me. I'm really good at figuring out which one's the right one for you. But if you are unable to get to a store, let's go through this pretty quickly. So with a running shoe, you will find that the tread is much different than an athletic shoe. So with a running shoe, when you're looking at, and if you guys have shoes, take them out right now and check them with me. The tread should look like it's almost pointing you forward. You want it to look like it's going in the direction that you are going in. An athletic shoe may not necessarily have that, because this is covering all of your bases. Athletic does not mean running, it just means you're doing something. So this one is, maybe it's good for soccer or basketball because it's going back and forth. There's a little bit going forward, but it's not necessarily propelling you forward. And we won't get into the physics of all of that today. But that's the first thing. You want to make sure it has a good tread on the bottom. If your shoes are very old, they need to be replaced. What does very old mean? 6 months or older, or over 300 to 400 miles. Either of those 2. Next up is you want to make sure that that heel cup is very firm. So when we pull up the athletic shoe, you can see that the heel cup completely collapses. With this one, I can push all I want, but that heel cup is not collapsing. And why is this important? So what happens is when you are running, your entire body weight is going on one foot at a time, and it is striking the ground. What the heel cup does is it absorbs that shock, and it cushions you, catches you, and pushes you back forward. So you want something that's going to be firm in order to hold you in. Next thing is, and I'll leave it at this because I know we've got some other stuff to get to today, but you want to make sure that no matter what you're in, you are lacing your shoes all the way up to the top. So most people will leave this top hole. Most people will leave this top hole open. It's not the end of the world if you do, but you really should close it, because it's going to serve, think of it as your seatbelt. It's going to hook your heel into that shoe to make sure that you are in there properly while you're moving around, and there's minimal movement while you're in there. So you can do one of 2 things. You can lace it all the way to the top like I have here, or another thing that you can do, and for those of you that are racers, this is a great thing to do, or people who frequently, whose shoes frequently get untied, is you take this top hole and you can put your shoelace in through right here, so it kind of creates a loop. And then when you're going to tie your shoe, you pull it through this loop, and it will be like that on both sides, and it fastens a little tighter. So 1, this makes sure that you are snug in the shoe. 2, if your shoes get untied, this will remain tight, so your entire shoe won't get loose. And 3, if you struggle with arch pain, this will add a little bit of pull on the side of your shoe to give you just a little bit more stability. So those are some things that you can do. Moving on with the props. So next, let's kind of talk about some common injuries that come up from running. So we know how to kind of prevent it, at least we should by now, team. 1, slow down, don't do too much too soon. 2, prioritize your rest and your fueling as much as you do your workouts. 3, make sure you are in the right supportive shoes and get to a store if you can. And if you can't, message me and I'll try to help you figure out what would be best. So going into, yes, use the top hole. So many people forget it's there. And if you have ankle pain, Kelly, I know that you mentioned that you do have ankle pain. That may help too. So one, if you do the loop trick, that might be a little too tight for you. So if you feel like your feet are a little too sensitive to that, just loop it all the way to the top. Make sure it's not too tight. See how that feels. Okay, but next let's get into some common injuries that come up and some things that you can do to help or alleviate them. Another preface I want to make, you all know I'm not a physical therapist, but I actually do go to one every month. If you have nagging injuries that keep coming up or have been bothering you for probably more than 2 weeks, please go see a physical therapist, specifically a sports physical therapist. Call ahead, make sure that they work with athletes, make sure that they've seen runners, because that is something that you really want to see. You want to work with someone who's going to specialize in the body of an athlete and is going to help you get you back on your feet. But let's talk a little bit about some common running injuries. Let me know if you guys are dealing with any aching pains today. I want to see them in the comments. But I see a lot of knee pain. I see a ton of shin splints and shin soreness, and then foot pain and ankle pain. So some things that you can do specifically are, most of you should be able to Google this. If you want me to, hips, yes, hips, Lori. I'll come back to the hips. But if you want me to send you links for any of these products, I can. Again, you should be able to Google it, but just let me know. So starting with the foam roller, if you're experiencing, and again, I'm talking in generalizations, so there are many aspects to the knee. It may or may not be applicable to you, but if you're experiencing knee pain, especially on the inside of your knee, there's a good chance that it could be your IT band. So a lot of times in the body, and this is what physical therapists are really helpful for, when you are feeling pain in a certain area, very rarely is that the cause of the issue. So knee pain could be IT band, it could be bad ankles, it could be the entire body is connected, and so one thing stems to the next. So the pain in the hip could show up in your knee or vice versa, whatever that looks like. So try things. Where was I with that? Oh yes, so the foam roller on the IT band, or what you can do is you can get something called a yoga ball. These are fantastic. I use them on my entire body. A yoga ball or a lacrosse ball on your IT band specifically. And when you're rolling, people make the mistake of rolling up and down really quickly. That's not going to help you at all. You want to go slowly, and we're talking about foam rolling specifically right now, slowly, IT band, any part of your body, as slow as you can. Make sure you're breathing. When you feel a knot, when you feel pain, when you feel tightness, pause on that. Take a deep breath. It's really uncomfortable, but it's really good for you. Take a deep breath, and then see if as you're exhaling, you can just kind of relax your body into that pain a little bit more, and then rock back and forth on that, and then go back to it. So it's, that's going to hit the pain a lot more intensely, but it's going to get you to the other end of, this frustrating injury. Yes, Lauren, yoga balls are fantastic. They're great for your feet. So I guess we can move into that one next. So if you're having any, and talk to me specifically, guys, because I've made specific videos for hips, for feet, for ankles. So if you want to see and want me to tag you in any of those videos so you don't have to go searching for them, just comment, IT band video, foot video, ankle video, shin video, and I will tag you in it because I guarantee you I have one for it. Moving on, there's the yoga ball and the lacrosse ball. The yoga ball has a ton more give. You can kind of see that I'm able to squish it. The lacrosse ball, not so much. And so I like to use both. The lacrosse ball can be a little tougher, and what happens is if your body's not, all right, lost the balls. If your body is not able to relax into that, the ball, the massager, whatever it is, it's going to tense up because it's saying we are under attack right now. So it's going to tense up, and you're going to cause more harm than good. So I always like to start with the yoga balls to begin with, and then if I'm not able to get enough relief, I will graduate to the lacrosse ball. Yes, I'll tag you guys in all these videos, and it might help make more sense as to all that I'm talking about. But for the feet specifically, before every run, after every run, roll them out on a yoga ball, a lacrosse ball, tennis ball, golf ball. Actually swear by is, it's hard to see, but they're toe separators. And my physical therapist actually told me to try this, and I thought he was a weirdo. But you put these on. This is specifically for foot pain. You put these on and you just kind of hang out on the couch 5-10 minutes with them a night. And what they're doing is they're spreading out your toes to what a more natural like state is, because our feet often our shoes often squish our feet. And they're giving your muscles like a little bit more of a reprieve so that your feet will feel better. So give those a try too. Last couple of props that I have for you. Again, let me know if I'm going too fast or if you guys want the links for these. This is great for shin pain. This is great for shin pain. These are just massagers. Using lotion in your own hands across the front of your shins are great too. This is also great for puffy faces if you guys have early morning Zoom meetings. But what this is called a polar roller. I keep it in my freezer. This is literally just called the stick. I keep it hanging out in my office. Please don't be crazy like me and buy every single one of these, but it's my job to try these all out for you. So these are my favorite things that I can share. But yeah, so anyways, those are great. Make sure that you're constantly rolling out your shins, especially if you are new to running. You could be increasing your mileage too fast or your speed too fast, which is what we talked about earlier. But in order to kind of help alleviate that, even if you're not feeling shin pain, you want to make sure, and let me know if you want the shin video too, because this one's kind of hard to describe, but you want to make sure that you're actively massaging your shins, but you're also doing, I call them heel walks. So you walk on your heels facing forward, and then you walk on your heels facing out. Again, if anyone wants the shin video so that you get a better understanding of what that looks like, let me know. It's just like a quick, probably 20 to 30-second practice that I make all of my athletes do at the end of their runs in order to help maintain that strength and stability. And I think that's all and then the last thing, which Kelly, I will specifically tag you in the ankle video because I know this was a question that you requested. Invest in some bands, guys. Another thing that I make every single Mindful Miles athlete do is PT work, regardless of if you have injuries or not. Women are prone to bad hips. I know we talked about this earlier. We're prone to having weak, creaky hips. We're prone to having weaker cores. So that's something that you should absolutely be focusing on if you're a woman. And these bands will help with all of it. You don't need to have a crazy gym membership or home gym. If you do, great. But if you don't, invest in some bands and do some PT work. And so again, if you have questions, feel free to message me. I'm happy to go through that individually with what that could look like for you. But a pair of bands, a couple of tools for recovery, good running shoes, that's all you really need. I'm going to quickly go through the comments and see if any questions came in, because I get so excited, I go wild, and I miss a lot of the comments as they come in. But one thing I wanted to mention to all of you, as a freebie for joining, these master classes, if anyone's interested in run coaching, just comment Mindful Fam in the comments. I'll reach out to you. We can chat a little bit about it. Anyone that applies and ultimately is accepted into the program, I'll be giving out 2 free weeks of coaching in addition to, the coaching itself. But let's see. If you have questions, pop them in. Team music, yeah, I know. I've got to say, guys, I think I'm alone on this one. I don't love music. All right, so I'm not seeing any other questions. If I'm missing it, please retype it in the chat. Oh, mantras. Yes, we're going to talk about mantras a lot on day 3. They are fantastic. Lori, I'm happy to send you some exercises that you can do to help strengthen your hips. If you have a specific injury or pain that you're feeling, let me know and we can talk about that a little bit further. But yeah, this is all I've got for you guys. Again, thanks so much for being here. I can't wait for day 2 and day 3. Tomorrow we're talking about how to get faster, how to go further. And then day 3, we're talking about motivation, because I hear all the time that running is boring. And y'all, it's just not true. It's just that you have to work on your motivation. You have to know, what sources to tap into when you're not feeling it, because you could be the most motivated person in the world, you're still not going to want to wake up and go for a run or lift weights or get on the bicycle every single day. So those are some things that we're going to be talking about then. But I promised you 20 to 30 minutes, and we are exactly at 30 minutes. So I will head out. Thanks so much for your time. Again, if anyone's watching this team replay, let me know, and I'll chat with you all soon. Bye.